Welcome back. Today we're making toasted veggie and cheese wraps. Here are the ingredients we're using today: butter, onions and mushrooms, mozzarella and cheddar cheese, garden wraps, sour cream and guacamole, salt and pepper. Let's get started. Of course, hungry mouths must be fed, so quick snack for the kiddo. And for these mushrooms, they actually were looking a little sad. They have such a short shelf life. So I went ahead and actually peeled them before I diced them up. And then of course you'll take your onion and dice that up as well and add that to the mushrooms and just set it aside for a couple minutes while we're getting everything else ready. And you will want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees so it's ready for later in the process. Add some butter to a hot cast iron skillet. If you have one, you can use a regular pan, but I am loving my cast iron. I use it whenever I can for everything. I have one pan, I use it for everything. Now you'll add your veggies, mushrooms and onions for me, salt and pepper, and then you'll just go ahead and stir it up and let it cook until it has just begun to caramelize. And this is a great type of recipe. It has endless customizations possible. So these are the veggies and cheese that I'm using today, but you can use anything. You can use bell pepper, you can use all different kinds of things, but this is a combination that I like. The just barely caramelized mushrooms and onions with some cheese. So then I just go ahead and wipe out the pan real quick so that there's nothing left in the pan for the next round of cooking. And these are the wraps that I like. I especially like the garden wraps. And when you're working in a tight space, this is just a little trick that I found. You can put them both together so that you can fill both wraps at the same time in a smaller space, kind of like a book. I thought that was cool. I thought I'd put that in. So you'll put your cheese on the wraps, and same thing, heat up your pan, add a little butter, get that melted up, and then you'll put the wraps in the pan, one on each side. And of course you can always do one, but I had been working a very long day and I was hungry. It was the end of a very, very busy day. And then you'll add your veggies inside with the cheese, because they'll get warm but they won't cook necessarily all the way if you cook them separately, so that's why it's nice to caramelize the veggies first and get them ready. That way they can just get all melted in with the cheese. But yeah, you can do endless customizations. You can put spinach in here, you can put tomatoes, you can put bell pepper, just like making an omelet. You can do any kinds of vegetables that taste good for you. Just spread those out evenly, and then you'll put your wraps in the oven. I found that with regular pans I can just do this on the stove, but my cast iron will actually cook them right in the middle but not on the edges, which turned out to actually happen this time because I got a little distracted. But for now, let's get some tea started. I'm making a nice cup of chamomile and honey tea with the products that I got from my Israel cart order. And this honey is just beautiful. I love showing it off. Just incredible texture on the honey. And the chamomile tea just smells amazing. And I'm zooming in here to show you. It says dvash tahor, which literally means pure honey. Dvash means honey, and tahor means pure, which is kind of fun for those who may not know as much Hebrew. That was just fun to share. And after a couple minutes, you'll actually take your wraps out of the oven and flip them over. And this is where I noticed that I did get a little bit distracted with things because I am multitasking behind the camera, and that's just mom life, and I burned the middle a little bit. So again, this is life. This is mom life. Oops. Put everything back in. And for now, let's move on to drink number 2, which is some of my homemade lime kombucha that I made a couple weeks ago. And I do strain out all the seeds, but I leave the pulp in for flavor and health benefits. So it's got some bubbles, it's got some of that lime pulp in there. Kombucha is delicious. And we'll probably make a video on that at some point. And this is my overly toasted wraps. But again, this is life. Life happens. But look, if you flip them over, nobody has to know. And they look perfect from this angle, so we're just going to roll with it. I like to cut mine up in triangles. And over here, I have some of that sour cream and some of the guacamole. It just helps cut the heat, and it adds a little bit of extra flavor, especially that spice on the guacamole. And the wraps tasted amazing. The tea was absolutely delicious. The kombucha was delicious. This is such a simple and flavorful meal. Thank you for joining us. Bitte abonnieren.